What's going on, everyone? So this whole Austin Reaves situation, right? Lakers are expected to give him 30 plus million. He's expected to sign and stick around. And then him as well as Luka Doncic are supposed to be kind of our backcourt for now and the future, right? That those are the two kind of stars that you're going to be building around for the foreseeable future. Now, I have my concerns, right? Expressed it in a previous video, my concerns about them as a backcourt, primarily on the defense side of things. Also, Austin Reaves, he definitely is going to need to improve and work on his three-point shooting if he's going to kind of be in the backcourt long-term alongside Luka Doncic. Because you've seen at times, right? Like Austin Reaves kind of gets phased out because Luka's doing his thing. And then, right now you have LeBron, but when LeBron departs, Reaves will get more opportunities on ball. But still, when Luka has the ball in his hands and Luka's creating and doing his thing, Austin Reaves needs to be able to knock down the three ball with more consistency than what we saw last season. Maybe he'll improve, get better, and that'll work. And then, there are pros to keeping Austin Reaves, right? He's a guy that plays, best ability is availability. He's a guy that can be your offensive engine and slot in at either guard spot. So when Luka is on the bench, he can kind of run your offense. Also, if Luka gets the night off, right? Austin Reaves is a guy that we've seen can go and win you games. He's a guy that can have an impact and win games that you wouldn't win otherwise. So I'm not entirely against keeping Austin Reaves long term. I have my concerns about you need to build a very specific type of roster then at that point around Luka and Austin Reaves that is not easy, and it's not easy to maintain. Like, you need hyper athletic two-way players, right? So you're hoping Jared Vanderbilt becomes, a 38% three-point shooter. You're hoping that Adu Thero ends up becoming a 38% three-point shooter, and that those two are just menaces on the defense side of things and are able to switch and be versatile. And then you need you need DeAndre Ayton to be a legit shot-blocking defensive center. Now, he's had moments and stretches and seasons, but can he buy into that consistently, right? So we'll see in that regard. But something that I've talked about, right, is the Lakers' whole plan is the 2027 season, and they want to, have that and preserve the cap space for a Giannis or a Jokic, right? And that's great. But I feel in a lot of ways the Austin Reaves scenario, assuming that they sign him for 30 million or 30, 35 million, my concern is when you start getting into the 40s, 50 millions, that could become an issue for the Lakers. Because if you do need to get off of them, I don't know if you'll be able to at that point, because you need to find a team that's willing to take on 50 plus million. You saw guys like a Bradley Beal and whatnot, who, talk about a guy that even in a bad year off the bench, for a Phoenix Suns team, was 17-4-4 or 18-4-4, and they had to buy him out and stretch him. You don't want that to happen with an Austin Reaves contract. But Austin Reaves kind of gives you insurance in two separate ways. One, gives you the insurance that if you don't end up landing any guys, at least you got somebody that that can perform and deliver, at least during the regular season. We need to see him really pick it up and perform better during the postseason. But we know during the regular season, you're probably going to be pretty good with Austin Reaves and Luka Doncic and their abilities to score the basketball, make plays, get others involved, so on and so forth, right? The other kind of benefit to having Austin Reaves there is I've talked about with Jokic and Giannis. The likelihood that you're going to sign them in free agency, right? That either one of those two are just going to come. And look, maybe you do. It's very possible, right? If Austin Reaves, signs 30 million, you should still have the cap space to potentially sign a Giannis or a Jokic, right? You have the cap increase over the next 2 years and all that. You have kind of your books clean going into that. But I've also talked about how more likely than not, you're going to have to trade for either of those guys. Problem is right now, you're trading for either of those guys. Austin Reaves, he's making such a small percentage, right? It's beneficial when, the last few seasons when you had him as one of the more valued contracts in the league. The problem is when you actually need to potentially move off of him, or now his contract, right now, if you wanted to make a trade and you wanted to trade Austin Reaves, how do you recoup the value necessary in order to justify it, right? Because you can't just, let's say Herb Jones, you can't just swap them, right? Like you have to unload other things. Right? An Andrew Wiggins right now, I'm not saying that you should or anything. I'm just using names as an example. But like if they were just like, hey, we'll just swap Andrew Wiggins for Austin Reaves, you can't. You literally can't. You'd have to do Austin Reaves plus, a Rui just to make that happen. And now it starts to become, okay, is player X worth Austin Reaves and Rui Hachimura? Right? Maybe if you're getting a bunch of picks and assets and stuff, but how many teams are going to pony that up, right? And then what is that value, right? How many picks is Austin Reaves valued at, right? Like let's say Portland was like, hey, we'll just do a Matisse Thybulle or a Kamara, right? Let's say Tamarni Kamara, right? Okay, let's do that, and then we'll also give you some picks. Okay, well, how many? Right? Is it 3? Is it 2? Is it 1? Is it just, do they just want to even swap? Like, that's where the problem lies. But if now you can, sign and trade him, right? So now you have, say, 30, 35 million. Maybe Milwaukee's willing to go to 40 million, right? Maybe they view, like, what do you view him at? Because at that point, if you're looking to sign and trade him, it's like it doesn't matter what the Lakers value him at. It's what is Milwaukee willing to pay him? Well, they might go, hey, we'll pay. We think Austin Reaves is a $40 million player, or maybe the Denver Nuggets are like, hey, we think he's a $40 million player, right? We'll sign him to that, or maybe he's a $30 million player to both, right? Either way, you're working out some sign and trade, or you're signing and trading and getting some assets and some players to ship out to Milwaukee Bucks or a Denver Nuggets. So it gives you the potential to now go and make that sign and trade, go make that move for that trade candidate. Or let's say you sign a Jokic, right? And you got Jokic and Luka. Now I really think you can't have Austin Reaves at that point, because now I think Austin Reaves completely gets phased out because both of those guys are going to have the ball in their hands. But secondly, right, like you're going to need defense heavily around Jokic and Luka. You just do. So now that gives you the piece to now maybe go take Austin Reaves and go make that trade and make that move if you were just to sign Jokic or Giannis outright. But there's also the potential and the likelihood that the Lakers miss out on both, right? There is a real chance. Like, what if Giannis gets traded this offseason? If he gets traded this offseason, he's probably going to sign a new extension and stick with that team, right? What if next offseason Jokic signs the extension because he gets more money, right? So now all of a sudden, right, they're both off the table. Now what do you do, right? And next season in 2026, there isn't really those options. Right, like, what are you doing? You're going to sign a Trae Young? That's worse than Austin Reaves. You might as well just stick with Austin Reaves, right? So, to me, Austin Reaves, I also think, gives you the insurance of like, hey, at least you got a guy that, bare minimum, during the regular season, can help lead you to the playoffs, right? Bare minimum. Now, obviously, again, we're not normal teams. We're the Lakers. We don't play for play-ins or playoffs. We want to win championships. So Austin Reaves really has to show up and deliver in the postseason. And if he ever was going to, it's going to be this year. I mean, you're in a contract season. This is it. And you've played last 2 years, you've played poorly in the playoffs. The Denver series, he was awful, right? And then the Minnesota series, he was unplayable, like literally. So that's 2 series in a row. And teams know the jury's out. It's something that I talked about, in the year after he went on that run where we, went to the conference finals, right? I was in the camp of like hyping up Austin Reaves like he was the second coming of Michael Jordan. It's really stoked for him. But I did say on several occasions, my concern is that now teams will have the scouting report, that now teams will have the tape and the film and will know how to better defend him. And he's not going to get the whistle and stuff. And when you saw Denver, right, and you saw Minnesota both do the same thing. And what is that? They just got physical with them. They got aggressive, pushing him around, bumping him, understanding he's not going to get the whistle that he got in the regular season. So him trying to be all crafty and create the contact and try to go ahead, do that, right? Because you're not going to get that whistle. And we're just going to lay you on your backside every single time. And we're going to get physical and we're going to put you in all this action and we're going to put you in the blender and we're going to target you possession after possession after possession after possession, right? Like teams understand that. So Austin Reaves is going to have to make those adjustments. He's going to have to get stronger. He's going to have to be able to shoot the basketball better. He's going to have to be able to figure out how to generate offense without the foul baiting, right? The foul baiting is great in the regular season, right? And it's great because especially when your shot's not falling or you're having a bad night, get to the foul line, start opening stuff up, right? Start knocking down some shots. Now you see the ball go through the hoop a couple times, starting to feel good about yourself, right? You got all those things. That's great. But the problem is at the end of the day, you're not going to get that during the postseason. So he's got to be able to knock down shots. He's got to be able to get to his spots in a postseason, more physical setting. So this year, he knows. I mean, there's 2 seasons in a row. If I can see it, if you can see it, you got to imagine he can see it, and the Lakers can see it, and the training staff, and everybody can see it. So my hope is that they're doing their job and going like, hey, we need you to do X, Y, and Z. Get in the gym, get in the lab, do all that stuff. Start working on your shot, doing those things, especially if you're going to play alongside Luka. But I really do think that Austin Reaves is just the insurance in case you miss out on anybody, right? You either can use him as a trade to now go get that clear-cut star, or if you can sign him, kind of see how that works with those guys. If it's Giannis, I think you can if you land Giannis, I think you can get away with Luka and Austin Reaves, right? Get a defensive center, right? And I think you'll be good. Right? Because Giannis covers, I mean, you're talking like Anthony Davis level, right? So you have like Giannis, Anthony Davis, or maybe slot Giannis at the 5 at that point. Go Giannis, Adu Thero, Jared Vanderbilt with Luka and Austin Reaves. Then I think you can be good enough to win a championship, right? But you might also have to make that trade and pull that off. So we'll see. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you want to like this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot, so we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.